Hello everyone, and welcome to our show, Healthy Cooking Made Easy. I'm Luann Anton, health educator at Stockton University, and today we're in N-Wing Cafeteria with the use of Chartwell's free food and free station to bring you this demonstration.
Hi, my name's Kristen Middleman. I'm the other health educator, and I also work with Luann Anton out of the Wellness Center.
Please be sure to check our website out so that you can access any of our programs that we offer. Our services are free to Stockton students, and you pay fees for what we offer, so we think it's important that you recognize that. A big part of what Kristen and I do are bringing that message to the Stockton community, and we educate about many different health-related topics. And today we're here to show you a little bit about how easy it can be to just cook up something quickly and easily that can actually be very healthy for you. Today we're going to do actually two different stir-fry dishes, and I'm going to be using the same main ingredients. I have my wok with me today, and you might notice, you might take a look at this and say, well, it looks kind of ugly, it's black, it's not dirty, it's what we call seasoned. If you don't have a wok at home, you can just use a large frying pan. But this was a wok I've had for many years, and I like the fact that it seasons just the way I like it. So that's what we're going to use today to get started. Today we're going to cook with using a chicken dish in stir fry. And I'm just going to get my wok warmed up here. And you can pretty much stir fry almost anything. So we're going to start by using some cut up white boneless chicken. And Kristen's going to talk to you a little bit about some safety issues regarding cooking of chicken and the handling of it.
So I'm going to give you a couple tips about food safety and how to prevent foodborne illness. So first and foremost, what you want to do is you want to wash your hands. Thoroughly wash your hands with warm soapy water for about 20 seconds. And you can, make sure you get that 20 seconds in, and make sure you take the same paper towel and turn off the faucet. Also make sure that all your surfaces are sanitized and clean. You can do that with hot soapy water, or you can also do it with 1 tablespoon of unscented bleach with a gallon per water. We also recommend that when you are cooking ingredients in a stir fry is to make sure that you separate the vegetables from the chicken. So, and use a separate cutting board as well. So when you're cutting up your chicken, use one cutting board and then a separate one for your vegetables.
So we have our chicken already sliced up today, and we're using olive oil in the pan here. You can use pretty much any oil that you like. Olive oil is a healthy oil. Coconut oil is another good choice. But our chicken is already cut up for us, nice and thin. So we're just going to place that in the oil, in the wok, once you get it heated. And you might choose to use organic chicken. I also like to use foods that are raised humanely and taken care of nicely. To me, that's important. What we have here right now is probably about close to between 2 and 3 pounds of chicken. And like I said, we're going to be using this for 2 dishes. So once you get your chicken in your wok, you can add your seasonings to it. We're going to start by adding a little salt and pepper. And then we're going to add some seasoning. We have fresh thyme here today. And I'm just going to rip off a few sprigs of this and throw it in there with the chicken. We also have some oregano, don't we, Kristen?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, it's Italian seasoning today.
Italian seasoning sounds good.
There you go.
And like I said, it really is a matter of what you like, what flavors you like. I like to use a lot of fresh herbs when I cook. Fresh herbs are good for you when you cook. So season it up whatever way is pleasing to you. And when you stir fry in a wok, generally we stir fry on pretty high heat, and the cooking is done pretty quickly. So this is a flipper that comes with the wok, and you just flip it around until it looks done, and it's done when it looks pretty white. Did you have any other safety issues to inform them of today regarding chicken? Because that's a good one. You don't want to use the same cutting board like you said.
Right, and you should really cook all poultry and ground turkey at 165 degrees. So that's an important thing to remember. And you can always check that by cutting a little piece and checking to see if it's still pink on the inside. That's how, and if it's not really, really pink, then you know it's done.
And I usually do that while it's right in the wok. If it looks done to me, I'll just take my flipper and press down and cut one in half. And as long as it's not that pink color inside anymore, if it all looks white, then you can be pretty well rest assured that it's finished. Like I said, we're going to be cooking 2 different dishes today. I'm going to add onions and mushrooms to this chicken, or take it out. Once it's finished, I'm going to take the chicken out and then cook my onions and mushrooms. Some people like to mix it all together. I just like to get it out of the way because the chicken, as you can see, is making some of its own juice in here, and I don't want my vegetables to be real soggy. When you stir fry, it's nice if the pan is a little bit on the dry side, so you actually are stir frying it rather than sauteing it. So once this is done, we're going to take it out. So for these dishes,
Now, Luann, do you drain that at all when you cook?
sometimes I do.
Depending on if you
but we
defrosted
can-
the chicken or not.
Right, and probably what we'll do is just hold on to some of the juice that's in there to flavor the dish when we mix it together with the
Okay.
other ingredients.
Very good.
So you can stir fry any vegetables or any meats that you enjoy eating. Like I said, today we're just going to use onions and mushrooms, but for this dish you could add whatever you like. So you can see how this is starting to turn white and cook up nicely here. And the spices are sticking to the chicken.
And Luann did talk about the different types of vegetables you can use, and today we're going to use the chopped up mushrooms and onions, but you can substitute that with any type of vegetable of your choosing. And that's really how you can incorporate getting your 5 servings a day of vegetables. So this is a very quick, nice, healthy, easy meal to make. Right, Luann?
Excellent idea. So a fun thing to do that's inexpensive with your friends is to maybe schedule a cooking night where you can all get together and maybe bring something. And with stir fry, you could have everybody bring a variety of ingredients and come over and cook them up and just see what comes out of this. What we're going to be doing today, like I said, I'm cooking chicken, onions, and mushrooms, and then I'm going to split it up and add half of it over rice with some either cream of mushroom soup, or today we have cream of broccoli soup. So sometimes with a stir fry, you wouldn't always add a sauce or a soup to make a meal, but you can. So you can stir fry all your things and just put them on a plate over rice or pasta or whatever you enjoy. And that's a meal in of itself. But I like to experiment with different kinds of soups and sauces to create a different kind of meal out of stir frying, because stir frying is easy. You just use one big pot and you don't have a whole lot of cleanup. So you can see how this is beginning to cook up nicely. What we probably will do is when we're finished here is just reach in with our tongs and take out that thyme, because as fresh spices, sometimes they cook up and you get like sticks in your food. So you might want to pick that out, because the flavor of the spice will cook in throughout the meat. How's that looking to you?
It's looking great. It smells great.
Smell good? Good. Okay. If you tuned into our last show, you remember me telling you that I don't always work from a strict or rigid recipe. And once again, I would just encourage you folks to get creative when you cook. Some things you might want to use a recipe for, but you don't always have to. Now you can see it's getting kind of a lot of liquid in here, and now it's starting to really more saute and almost boil, so rather than stir fry. So we just want to reach down in there, cut one of these pieces of chicken in half and see what it looks like there. And you could probably see here that it's nice and white inside, so we're going to say that that chicken is done. So what I'm going to do now is split this up, put half of, just to get it out of my way. It looks like about half, does it, maybe? I'll take another plate, please.
Here you go.
Thanks.
Looks delicious.
Are you hungry?
I could just eat it like that.
You could eat it like this if you just like plain chicken, that's fine.
Or you could throw that on a salad as well.
That's a great idea.
That's another option.
Or a good idea, you see how quick and easy it was to cook this up? I'm just going to get rid of this thyme here. Because like I said, I don't want to be eating that in with the dish. But you could cook this up pretty quickly and easily and then hold on to this during the week to throw over salads or in whatever else you want. All right, now, like I said, I'm going to hold on to some of this juice just to keep the flavor in it. I think that'll go nicely when we mix it with the rest of the things. But you can see the wok is pretty dry. Now we're going to turn our burner back on again. And the next thing we're going to cook are the onions, okay? So we have our onions that are sliced up. And in the ingredients that are posted for today's show, it says 1 sweet Vidalia onion, or a sweet onion or a Vidalia onion. Vidalia onions are my favorites. Smells pretty good. Now, if the wok gets a little too dry here, once again, you could just add a little bit more oil. Sprinkle it with a little bit of oil like that. Okay. And we want those onions to get nice and brown. Okay. Now, I think at this point what we're going to do is add a little garlic in here, because we didn't add any garlic to the chicken. So, like I said, what we're going to do here is just add a little garlic right in the middle there. That's enough, or you can add more if you like more garlic. And then just stir that around with the onions. Okay. Now, it usually takes onions a little bit longer to cook than it does the mushrooms, so I want my onions partially cooked here a good bit of the way before I add the mushrooms in. And you can see it's getting a little dry again, so I'm going to sprinkle a little more oil on that as we need it. Now, a lot of times I'll cook up peppers with the onions too. If I were cooking red pepper, I like red pepper the best, or orange or yellow are a really good alternative to green too, just for something a little different. And that would be a good addition to this dish as well. Or if you wanted to, you could make like a chicken cheese steak almost with this, with what we've got going here with onions and mushrooms is good. Doesn't that smell good?
And if you're trying to eat healthier, you can always use a low-fat cheese too if you're making a chicken cheese steak.
Good idea. Okay, let's add some mushrooms in here. We have some pretty large sliced mushrooms. And again, if you don't like mushrooms, obviously don't use them. They're sliced pretty thick, so we'll see how these cook up for us. Add a little more oil. Okay. And just flip it around and stir it up until they get nice and brown and whatever texture you like them. You might like your vegetables a little on the crispy side rather than cooking them until they're really, really soft. It's more of a preference just in what you like. Any other safety tips we want to talk to them about?
I just wanted to talk a little bit about, I know as college students you may have to eat on a budget. So I just kind of wanted to talk about eating on a budget and, try to remember the 3 Ps. So that's plan, purchase, and prepare. So when you're planning, plan ahead. You can always plan meals and snacks according to your budget for the week. You can go online, try to find coupons. There's different things that you can do. Make a grocery list, and it's important to remember, don't shop when you're hungry. You tend to buy more items at the grocery store when you're really, really hungry. And
or things you don't really need to eat.
Yeah, and a lot of grocery stores have the rewards cards or points cards that you can get as well. That'll save you some money. And you can always shop at the produce outlets too. So you'll find some great deals on vegetables and fruits by doing that as well.
Right down the street, we have Santori's Produce Outlet. That's a good place to get
Yes.
produce and very economically. And Chartwell's has a good selection here, usually of different vegetarian dishes. And oftentimes they have a stir-fry station set up so that you can come along and choose your own ingredients, just like we're doing today, to create something.
So when you purchase items, you can also go by the unit price and see what's cheaper that way when you're in the grocery store. And you can always buy the fruits and vegetables that are in season because they will be less expensive, like apples and bananas. You can always get apples and bananas. And you can also do different vegetables such as beans, cannellini beans, and black or garbanzo beans.
It's a great idea to add that stuff
Sure.
to it. Okay, so our onions and mushrooms, this is about how I like them to look. They're nice and brown. You can see the onions are starting to caramelize really nice. The mushrooms are nice and brown, and they're soft, but they're not too mushy, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out about half of these and put them on top of one of these chicken dishes and just put it aside here for a few minutes until I finish with this first dish. Does that look about half to you? Does that look about right?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Careful.
Okie dokie.
Don't want to burn yourself.
Oops. Okay, so now I'll take the other dish if you don't mind. Now what I'm going to do is dump this chicken, the cooked chicken, back into the wok with the sauce. Okay?
Yep.
And the first thing we're making is the chicken and rice. So now you can turn your flame down some because what's in there is already cooked. So I'll take that rice. We can get that out of there.
Sure.
Some of that rice.
Yep.
Now the rice we have today, this looks like it might be a brown rice. Anything is better than white rice. Okay, your body doesn't process that kind of carbohydrate as good as it does a whole grain carb. So we're looking at either brown rice or brown basmati rice, which tastes differently than just plain old brown rice, or any type of whole grain rice. They have black rice, red rice, what else? There's all kinds of different rice combinations
Yellow
that you
rice.
can pick up. Yellow. In the store, there's a brand called Lundgren's that has a package of rice that's different rice blends that are really nice and fun to experiment with. So again, just put in whatever amount of rice looks good for you with this amount of chicken and onions and mushrooms. So this is I like about a decent amount of rice with my dish. Okay? So that. And then, like I said, you could just leave it like this if you wanted to. You could add some cooked broccoli to this if you wanted, or steamed broccoli on the side and simply eat it just like this, as you see it here, because it does have a little of the sauce that the chicken was cooked in. Remember, we dumped that in. But today I'm going to show you how to dress this up a little bit and make a different type of dish. You can use, like I said, cream of mushroom soup. I'll take that full cup. Try to use a low salt variety, but today we're using cream of broccoli soup because that's what they had here at Edmond Cafeteria today. So we're just going to add that right in there, okay? And then turn our flame down a little more so it doesn't burn.
And you can do a lower fat version too of the mushroom soups or any of the soups. They always have lower fat versions and low sodium as well.
So just by adding a soup into it, as Kristen said, a nice low-fat version, you can see this makes a nice little dish here with sauce. And I would add either a tossed salad to this, or like I said, some steamed broccoli would go really well with this dish, or maybe even both, just to increase your vegetables. And there we have it, our chicken stir fry. So I guess we'll use that. Okay, so.
And if you're not a big fan of the cream-based soups, you can also use like a teriyaki sauce, or you can also spice it up a little bit with a little sriracha. Like there's a lot of things you can do.
Okay, you can place that over there. You would? And Who's hungry? Okay, so now for the second stir-fry dish, you remember we already have our chicken, onions, and mushrooms cooked up on the plate here. We put aside with the juice. We're just going to dump that back in the wok. And this one is nice if you add red peppers to it, but what we're going to add to this one is tomato sauce. Now, some of you might like to make your own tomato sauce, or I like to use a jar of certain brands that I like that are pretty tasty. And just you're going to add the tomato sauce right to the cooked chicken, onions, and mushrooms. Again, as much as you like. Okay. How's that look? Look good? We'll just leave that there in case we want to add more sauce. Okay, and again, just experiment with these things and see what you like, see how it works out for you, see what you enjoy. You could even add fresh tomatoes chopped up into this dish would be nice. Would be a good way for you to get more vegetables in your diet. So mix in that tomato sauce in with your cooked chicken, onions, and mushrooms, and let that warm up for a bit. And then what we're going to do is you could cook pasta and put it over the pasta if you like, but I'm going to take some cooked pasta already and put it right in there. That's how we're going to do it today. Okay?
And zucchini would be a very good addition to this recipe as well.
Yes. Yeah, don't limit yourself to traditional choices when you eat pasta. If you eat pasta. Some people have moved away from pasta thinking it's bad for you, that the carbohydrate isn't good for you. But again, just like the rice, we need healthy carbohydrates in our diet. And this looks like a regular pasta, but you could use a whole wheat pasta if you like. And sometimes a whole wheat pasta tastes kind of heavy to me, so what I like to use is any kind of a multi-grain pasta, which is really tasty. And today I've seen even in ShopRite markets a brown rice pasta, a chickpea pasta. I've even tried a quinoa pasta. These are all whole grain based pastas that are good for you, very delicious, very low in fat, and very filling as well. And as I said, your body breaks down the whole grain pasta, the whole grain carbohydrates a little differently than a white flour carbohydrate. It breaks it down a little bit slower, so it gives you more energy over a period of time. And it's just healthier for you in general. Fills you up a little more. Anything else you want to say about
And the
that?
other key to remember is this is how you're going to get your vegetables, your daily amount of vegetables in, is by putting them in the pasta. So if you're not a big veggie eater, this is the perfect way to incorporate vegetables into your meals.
Now you can see that's bubbling along there. So I would just turn this on low, and most woks come with a lid. I usually don't use my lid very often unless I just want to cover this. It's just about done right now. So what I would do if I were cooking this at home, I would have this prepared, have it on low, and then once I see that it's all nice and hot, thoroughly hot and warm in there, I would turn it off and just let it sit for a few moments while I'm getting together salad or whatever else I'm going to have with this meal. But in general, you really don't need to use it. One thing I like about mixing the pasta in with the sauce is then the pasta has a little chance to absorb some of the sauce, and it just comes out nice. And now you wanted to add some grated cheese to that?
Sure.
Looks nice.
And you can add a little grated cheese. If you like it hot, you can put some hot peppers, crushed hot peppers on there as well. You can add a little more onion powder, garlic powder, or even a little Italian seasoning if you choose.
So we hope you've enjoyed learning to cook stir fries quickly and easily. It can be very, very healthy for you. And that you get out and experiment. Don't be afraid to get creative and stir fry whatever food you like. And combine them in whatever ways you like, using your fresh herbs and adding multigrain or whole grain carbohydrates to the meal, and then supplementing that with a tossed salad or some whole grain bread if you feel the need for it, and enjoy yourself and have fun while learning to cook in healthy ways.
And don't forget your 3 Ps: plan, purchase, and prepare.
Thanks for joining us today.